Underwater videography is arguably the hardest thing to do with an action camera. Between the environment being completely different and so many different settings to choose from, it can get pretty tricky. However, if you know the right filming tips, you can capture some pretty cinematic video. What's going on, guys? It's Ray here, and today I'm giving you 7 tips to make your underwater videos better with your GoPro Hero 12. Now before we dive in, if you love underwater and adventure videos, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on. Tip number 1 is all about color correcting your shot, and there's a lot that goes into this. The main difference between a good and bad underwater shot is usually the color. If you leave your footage raw or have the wrong settings in the video, it will look either way too blue or way too green, depending on where you're diving. First things first, go into your settings and adjust your white balance. The Hero 12 along with the 11 gives you the option to crank up how much red is in your video. The more red you add for blue water, the more color your video will have. Also, make sure to have 10-bit color turned on as well. This feature is also available on the Hero 11. Now, something I get asked about constantly is whether or not you should use dive filters. In the past, I would have said yes, but these days I lean more towards no. Now, if you just want to film underwater and you don't want to worry about your video at all, you don't want to have any editing to do, then yeah, dive filters are a pretty good option. However, since you can add more red through your white balance, dive filters aren't really needed. And if you really want good underwater color, then you should edit your footage. Editing your video's color on your computer or phone is more efficient than using dive filters. And when used with the right white balance, your video's color should pop a lot more than before. The GoPro Hero 12 has the best in-body stabilization of any camera on the market in my opinion. This comes into handy when filming underwater. The biggest problem I see in underwater videos, even if the color is good, is the lack of stabilization. And if you have Hypersmooth 6.0 turned on, this helps you solve the issue. Underwater shots are meant to be slower and smooth, and without Hypersmooth, this becomes very difficult, especially while snorkeling. The Hero 12's Hypersmooth also doesn't crop your shot as much compared to the 11 or 10. So make sure you have Hypersmooth turned on in your settings. Before we continue forward, today's video is sponsored by Movavi Video Editor. If you're wondering how I get my GoPro footage in this video to look so good, it's by using Movavi Video Editor. This GoPro editing software comes with everything you could possibly need to make your videos pop, including AI background removal, AI denoiser, and direct uploads to TikTok. It has all the tools you need to edit your videos together, and at a cheaper price than Adobe. I also really like that this editing software is one of the easiest in the world to use. You can really edit your video's color, add some fun filters, and really make your videos stand out. If you take your GoPro videos seriously, Movavi Video Editor is a necessity. If you want to start a 7-day free trial, there's a link in the description below. I will be releasing another video strictly going over settings for underwater video in more detail. But for now, let's go over the best go-to settings for underwater video. First of all, you should always be filming in 4 or 5.3K. Anything less shouldn't be used underwater. When it comes to frame rates, that's when it gets a little more complicated. Now, if you're strictly going for a cinematic look, film in 5.3K 24. Hollywood movies are shot in 24 frames per second because it tends to look the most cinematic. Slower frames per second also capture more available light. So if you're in water that's dark, 24 frames per second is good. However, if you want slow motion or you're filming moving objects like sharks, turtles, and more, have your frames per second set to 60. I usually always film in 4K 60 while diving or snorkeling. This allows for me to slow my footage down if I want to, while capturing every frame along the way. Some other settings I always have on for underwater is 10-bit color. I have my sharpness set on high and my color set on natural. And all of that together will create the best underwater video possible. This next tip is about which mounts and handles to use while underwater. I have always recommended using an underwater light tray if you're serious about your video. This is hands down the best underwater accessory to have. It's the easiest for keeping your shot steady and gives you the option to use lights if you want. Now my new setup still uses a light tray, however I have my GoPro mounted on top of my GH5S underwater housing. If you want to see a comparison between a pro level camera and GoPro underwater, stick around for that video in the next few weeks. But if you don't want to use an underwater light tray, there's still a few good options. I would recommend using either a selfie stick or buoy mount. The buoy mount is the best for snorkeling since it floats at the surface. The selfie stick is also really good for snorkeling and freediving, and these three mounts together are overall the best. Using the right one is very important though, because it makes capturing underwater video that much easier and allows for you to capture a variety of different shots. Slow motion is hands down the easiest way to make your footage look cinematic, and it's something you should incorporate into a lot of your videos. Let's take a look at this shot of a sea turtle underwater. One of the clips is at normal speed and the other is in slow motion. The slow motion shot is easily the more cinematic, which is why slow motion should be used in a lot of your videos. The Hero 11 and 12 come with the Enduro Battery, which performs better than normal in lower temperatures. Now, most of the water on our planet is cooler in temp, and if you have the Enduro Battery, your GoPro will last a lot longer. The Hero 12 also has much improved battery life over the Hero 11, so these two things together will definitely make your camera last at least an entire dive. My final underwater tip is to take your time underwater. Doing so will help you in almost every category we've gone over today. Taking your time underwater helps your shot be smoother, more cinematic, makes slow motion a lot easier, and can help you find the right angle for your shot. I can't tell you how many times I've been diving and seen someone with their GoPro frantically swimming around. Now I know this is understandable because there's just so much we want to film on our dives. You also have a better chance of seeing cool marine life if you're moving slower. Now, I've been using GoPro cameras underwater for over 7 years now, and in that time, I've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work underwater. So I really hope the information I've given you in this video is really helpful for you creating underwater videos. But that is gonna wrap up today's video, but before you go, make sure to smash that like button, comment down below if you plan on using the Hero 12 underwater and where, and most importantly, subscribe with notifications turned on so you never miss out on awesome videos just like this one. I'm Ray Tiller, and I'll see you on the next video.